you done now?
You know her from shows like Gotham, from Homeland, The Endgame, and of course Deadpool and Deadpool 2. She joins us this morning to talk about the new film, The Good House, with Sigourney Weaver, who, by the way, Sigourney's a goat. And I saw on the poster for this movie, it says Academy Award nominee. And I think that's a travesty of justice that Sigourney Weaver hasn't won an Oscar. She's been nominated, she's been recognized, but she never won the Oscar. That bothers me a little bit. But Morena Baccarin is going to join us this morning. We're going to ask her about Deadpool. We're going to ask her about the new news. Hugh Jackman. Huge news about Hugh Jackman coming back to play Wolverine. Talk about her relationship with Ryan Reynolds. Ben McKenzie, of course, Gotham. Balancing being a mom and the new movie, The Good House, which is in theaters right now. We're going to check it out with Morena Baccarin here on The Collection. And she joins us right now to talk about the new film, The Good House. Morena Baccarin joins us this morning. Morena, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about this movie. This movie came out last Friday in theaters exclusively. Talk to me about it. What's the feedback been like so far?
It's been wonderful. It's such a sort of relatable film and told in such a funny and up close kind of way. I think people are really reacting well to it. It's the story of a woman dealing with addiction, and Sigourney Weaver plays her beautifully. She just knows how to bring in an audience, but it's, it's kind of a riot, and at the same time, deeply sad.
Yeah. You mentioned Sigourney there. I feel like you always get better when you're around people who are better than you. That's what I try to surround myself with. I never want to be the smartest one in the room.
Absolutely.
I never want to be the best in the room. I always want to learn. Sigourney Weaver is one of the greats of any generation, especially the last few. What was it like working on set with her? And were you like watching from afar saying, ooh, I can take that. I see what she did there. Oh yeah, I'm stealing that for my next movie.
I mean, what was really wonderful about her is she's incredibly kind, present, disarming. She's just, and she's one of my idols. I grew up watching her films and wanting to be her and learning from her. And getting to be in a scene with her was just such a joy. She's really giving, and we clicked and had the best time. And she's so present, and she's so in the moment with you that you kind of almost forget that you're acting. It just felt like we were hanging out. That was the best part.
So, like, leading up to doing the scene, since you said you were looking forward to doing a scene with Sigourney Weaver, are there nerves at play there? Do you really want to do a good job for her? Or are you just, I'm locked in, this is my job, I know what I'm doing?
I mean, of course, I was terrified that I would throw her, or if I couldn't deliver, I would be getting in her way, or, and all that stuff is BS. It's sort of like you're in your own head. Everybody's doing their own work and worried about their own process. So she's not sitting there waiting to judge me. It was just easier than I thought because she's so present and so kind. And it was, we really had a really good time.
Yeah, the movie, The Good House, like when you choose your projects, because you have a lot of great action, kind of adventures films that you do. We know you've delved in the comic book realm, small dramas, kind of like this one. How do you go about selecting what's next for Morena? Like, what do you look for in a script or a screenplay?
Well, first and foremost, I look for good stories and stories that are, somewhat responsible at least, or have something powerful and interesting to say. And obviously the character itself. And then I always weigh that against how much time away from my children and where am I going? Is it doable with our lives? So it's always a bit of a gamble, or, a little bit of finagling.
You know what? You're probably the perfect person to ask this. Okay, so my wife and I, we just got married in April. We're starting to have the conversation about kids. I know it changes the life, but how much does it really change your career? You said you have to consider things like time away from the family and things like that. How much has it impacted you? And what should I be aware of? What are the tips and tricks?
100% changed everything. I am not a free agent anymore, and by choice. I wouldn't have it any other way, but every decision that I make in my life has to do with my family and my kids. For me, that's just how I operate. You know, I still am lucky enough to be able to do what I love and what I do, but I can't just take any job that I want. There have been many times where I've had to turn down work because, you know, it's shot in India for 6 months, and there's just like no way that I was going to be away from my kids for that long. It's just you sort of prioritize what is more meaningful to you at that moment. And it's hard in the sense, but it's also easy because it's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the ultimate reason we're all here is to you know, have a family and be able to raise people who are hopefully going to go off and do greater things than we ever expected ourselves to do. You know, we talked.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole role of it. But you and your significant other, your spouse, the father, the husband, he's also in the acting realm. So do y'all have to look at the calendar and say, hey, yeah, you know what? I am going to be shooting in, you know, Toronto for these 3 months. Can you pass on this project and then you take the next one? Is that how it works?
Yeah. I mean, he asked me to take the summer off. He's writing a book right now, and we needed somebody at home with the kids, and I did. You know, we just sort of try our best to support each other.
That's incredible. Of course, people know you from a lot of different projects. Gotham was one that I absolutely loved and saw you in. Of course, Ben McKenzie in that one as well. And then the Deadpool, everybody loves you in Deadpool, of course, Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. I just wanted to ask about the first Deadpool, if I may, for a moment, because when I heard there's going to be an R-rated comic book movie, I wasn't sure how that was going to translate, you know, to the massive audiences. And then opening weekend, it's $120, $140 million, whatever it is, some crazy number. When y'all were shooting it on and you were on set, did you have the feeling of, you know what, not only do I believe in this project, but now that we're shooting this, I feel the specialness that is going to be this first Deadpool movie?
I had no idea. I was sort of flying by the seat of my pants. I was going through a really difficult time personally in my life, and I just was so thankful to have a material that was so good and something I could sink my teeth into and just sort of forget my personal life for a little bit. And I had so much fun shooting it. I had the best time working with Ryan. And I loved it. I loved every single minute of it and cherished it and just hoped that people got it. It was totally my sense of humor, but I wasn't sure that people would get it or like were ready for it. And then when it came out, it suddenly made so much sense, you know?
Yeah, it just clicked. And, you know, Ryan, the perfect person to play the role. And I think you were the perfect casting opposite of him. But I have to ask, was there a lot? Because he's a very funny individual. I watch him in interviews. He's very quick, very sharp. Was there a lot of improv, or was he sticking to the script, or was he just firing jokes off at you every 2 seconds?
It was a little bit of both. We definitely always, you know, did the script as written, and then there were always alternate lines or things we came up with. And one of, like, I think the sweetest parts of the film in the calendar, you know, the sex montage, we call it, where it's like the calendar goes round and round, and I sort of brought it up with the director about, like, this is fun and all, and you get how much these people lust after each other, but you don't get the love. So, like, we need something in there that really solidifies who they are to each other. That whole thing that he says earlier in the film about your crazy matches my crazy is like, that's something that people really connect with. And so in the Thanksgiving montage, I stopped and looked at him and told him I loved him in a sincere kind of way. And I feel like that's where him and I balance each other in that film, is he's so funny and so irreverent and so out there. And my character tends to just kind of ground him and reality, and you can see the connection between them. And so it was just a really nice moment to improv together.
And again, we're talking about The Good House, which is in theaters right now. One question, though, about Deadpool, because it did make some news last week. Hugh Jackman. We know Hugh Jackman's going to be joining. Yeah. According to the teaser, how do we feel about this? You don't have to tell me anything that you know, but just how do we feel about Hugh Jackman being involved?
I mean, I can't wait to see that. I know nothing about it. I am completely in the dark. I don't even know if I'm going to be in it, but I was really excited to see that. I think those two together are going to be phenomenal.
So again, The Good House is in theaters now. Just give the people listening here in Houston, what's the reason to go and see this movie?
A real movie theater experience about, a film that you'll want to talk about with your family and friends.
There you go. I love it. And the great Sigourney Weaver is in it, as well as Morena Baccarin joins us this morning. Morena, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.